Hello everybody, welcome to lesson 6, the third week of virtual learning. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's safe and also just logging on and completing the all the assignments that your teachers have done for you and all the videos that the teachers have spent the time making for you. Again, if you haven't got the chance to do that, there's always time to just go back through the Google Classroom to view the videos and also to do the assignments and turn them in as well. Today we're going to focus on long division, all right? And it's something that you've learned in fourth grade, something that you've reviewed in fifth grade. Well, guess what, kids? This is something that is not going to ever leave you, really. You might not necessarily do it as much as you get older, but there are times where you're going to have to divide numbers, and the numbers aren't always going to be friendly and small. So right now we're just going to take the time to practice that, go over the steps, some of the small strategies that I have that might help you guys, and so that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So you can go ahead on your clean sheet of paper, divide your paper up into 3 columns like we normally do. Label one column I do, the middle column or the second column we do, and the last column, the column that you're going to be doing your own work on, is you do. So again, for the I do section, to remind you all, this is where Ms. Young is simply just teaching you. I am going to be working on this problem in front of you and also explaining each of the steps and some of the strategies that I'm using to help me to make sure I get the correct quotient. And quotient is the term that we use to describe the answer of a division problem. So if we're looking here, the common mistake that even Mr. Young did growing up is whenever I see this division problem here, this little house-like thing, as we know, is another way of saying divide. I have the mistake of saying 6 divided by 83, when really that's actually not the correct way of saying the problem that you see in front of you. You got to say the dividend first, which is inside this little house here, so it would be 83 divided by 6. Right? That's the correct way of saying it, just to get that out there, because it's something that a lot of students, and even myself when I was in elementary school, I had trouble properly saying this. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this divisor here, and we're going to use the number 6 and figure out how many times can this 6 go into the first digit in that house, which is the 8. Now, really quickly, if you're struggling with this, actually, I kind of want, if you're really fluent at this, you can go ahead and try to do this, but I'm going to break this down for you as best I can. And so whatever that divisor is, so in this problem, the divisor is 6. I'm going to start to skip count by 6, right? And you'll see why I think it's easy to do this. So it's 6, 12, 18, 24. Now, you don't have to skip count all the way to a giant number. What I like doing is I like jotting down some skip counted numbers on the side, because I'm going to use that as a reference, as a guide, as I'm doing this problem here. And here's the reason why. If we're looking at this problem here, we got to think, how many 6 times what number will get close to 8, right? So if we look at our skip counting that we did on the side here, basically it's saying one number here is less than 6. It's less than 8, but close to 8 or equal to 8, right? And as you can see, the number 6 here is the only number that's close to 8, but doesn't go past it, right? If you look at the 12 here, that's not correct, because 12 is bigger than the 8, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and let me undo some of this, because right, so how many times, 6 times what will get me the 6 here that we decided is the number? 6 times 1, right, because that's the first number in our skip counting, right? So then we're going to multiply 6 times 1 is 6, so we're going to subtract the 8 by 6. 8 minus 6 is 2, and then we're going to bring down the next number. So after you multiply, after you subtract, we're going to bring down the next place value, or the next digit, and that's going to be a 3. So now we're going to repeat the step that we just did. 6 times what number will get me close to 23, right? Without going over. So I'm going to do right now. Hold on a sec, guys. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is we're going to take a look at our list over here, our skip counting list, right over here. All right, and we're going to look at this list of numbers here, 6, 12, and 24. What number is in this list is close to 23, but doesn't go past it, right? And so what you'll see is that technically the number 24 is the closest to 23 because it's just one past 23. But the rule is you got to choose a number in the list that's close to 23 but doesn't go past it. So we can rule out 24, even though it's technically closer distance-wise. It can't go past 23, and 24 is bigger than 23. So we know that the number that we have to use is 18, right? And so what do we write at the number up here? Well, 6 times what got me this 18? We can look right down here. It is the third number in our skip counting, and so we're going to write the 3 up here, and it'll be 18. And then we're going to go ahead and subtract it, okay? Now, always, again, as a quick reminder, please do not subtract from left to right. I know we read from left to right, but in division, we got to make sure that we're starting from the ones place, which will be in the right-hand side. So 3 minus 8. We can't do 3 minus 8 because 3 is smaller than 8. If you have 3 pieces of candy and someone has said, hey, can you give me 8? You can't give them 8. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to regroup. Give this a 10, so it would be 13. Then 13 minus 8 is 5. And 1 minus 1 is 0. Alright, so what you're going to realize is the answer is 13. Now there's no other numbers to bring down, so this is the remainder. So it would be 13 remainder 5. Okay, so this is your answer. A lot of times what I see is I'll ask you all, what's the answer? And some of you guys will say 5. Well, 5 is not the full answer, that's just a remainder. And so your answer is going to be above the house. Now the biggest thing that I want to really emphasize is if you were to skip count the divisor, which is this number here, on the side right here, that will help you to kind of visually, see what numbers is close to whatever number that you need to get close to without going over, right? That list kind of helps you to acts as a guide for you to be able to choose the correct number to put at the top of the house, right? And so that's how we got 13, and then there's a remainder 5. All right, we're going to go ahead and do the we do, and this is the part where you can do a couple of steps, and then unpause me. You can pause me right from the beginning and try a couple of steps on your own. Unpause me, and that will be kind of our way of working on it together. So again, the same thing here. What we have is the number 5. So what I like to start doing, even though we're really great at counting by 5s, is I'm going to start to skip count by 5s over here. Okay, 5, 10, 15, 20. Sure, let's do one more. 25. Okay, we added. Let's use a different color to label that this is the first number. We added 5s 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. Okay. Now we're going to go back to this problem here, and we're going to take a look, the divisor and the dividend, okay? How many times can this 5 go into this first number here, which is a 6? So if you take a look at your list again here, 5 times what will get me close to 6? So what number in here, in the skip counting list that we have here, is close to 6 but doesn't go past it? Well, we see that 5 is the closest one, because if we do 10, 10 is bigger than 6, and we can't use that. So 5 times what got me 5? 5 times 1. So that's going to be a 5. We're going to subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. Then we're going to bring down to 5. 5 times what will get me close to 13 or equal to 13 without going past it? So again, go back to your box where we skip counted, right over here. Okay. What number here is 15? Or a number that's close to 15 but doesn't go past it? Well, guess what? There's a number 15 right there, right? So how many times did you add 5 to get there? Just look at that blue number, and that is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. We're going to subtract 15 minus 15 is 0. Now, the difference between this problem and the other one, as you can see, is that the dividend, this one has two digits, this one has 3 digits. Okay, 657 is 3 digits. Now, you're probably wondering, well, is there any difference between this? Yes, there is a difference, but the only difference is that you're just doing the steps one more time, right? So it's not anything new. It just takes that little bit more time to finish it, this problem, right? We're going to bring down the 7. What we have here is what times 5 times what will get me close to 7. Go back to your skip counting. So what number here is close to 7 but doesn't go past it? Well, 10 wouldn't work because 10 is bigger than 7, but 5 would. So 5 times what got you 5? 5 times what will get me close to 7? 5 times 1. 5 times 1 is 5. We're going to subtract that. 7 minus 5 is 2. If you can read that. There's no more numbers to bring down, so our 2 is going to be excuse me, our remainder. So it's 131 remainder 2. Alright. Let me double sorry, goodness. Let me double check that real quick. Yep. So again, the skip counting on the side helps your brain to kind of see, and your eyes to see what number is close to whatever number that is you're trying to get. Right? Remember, it has to be the closest number without going over or equal. It can be equal too, of course. Alright, now the you-do part, you can go ahead and write this down on your you-do. You can go ahead and pause this video and try to do this on your own. I encourage you, if you're having trouble, or if you get it wrong the first time, that I would skip count at the bottom. So in this problem here, you always skip count by the divisor. So you guys can go ahead and pause it now. Mr. Young will go ahead and solve it. When you're done, you can go ahead and unpause it and check to see if your steps and your quotient is correct. Right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the divisor. Right? That's what we're going to skip count by. So we're going to do 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Let's just do it up to 15. Okay? And that's our first number. That is our first number, second number, third number, fourth number, and fifth number. Okay? Let's go back to yellow. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and solve it. 3 times what number here will get me close to this 8. So we take a look at our skip count here by 3s. One number here is close to 8 but doesn't go past 8. You'll see that this 6 here is the closest to 8 without going over. Obviously the 9 is technically closer because it's just one more than 8. But the rule is you can't choose a number from that list that's bigger than what you need. So 6 is the number that we're going to look at. Okay? So we're going to use 6. Let's erase this here. Let's not confuse you guys. And 3 times what got me this 6? Another way to look at it is look at the blue number here. How many times do we add 3 to get to 6? 2, right? So 2 will go here. 3 times 2 is 6. Then we're going to subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. Bring down the number here. So 3 times what gets me 25? Now clearly, I stopped skip counting at 15. So it looks like we're going to have to skip count a little bit more until we get closer to 25. Okay, which is not a problem. This is kind of helps you practice skip counting also. So we got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. Alright, so right away, what number here do you see is close to 25 but doesn't go past it? You'll see that 24 is the closest. So we got to think about 3 times what got me 24. Or in other words, how many times do we add 3 to get to 24? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so 3 times 8 is 24. So we're going to put the 8 there. We'll put the 24 down here. Subtract that. 25 minus 24 is 1. 5 times, because 5 times minus 4 is 1. And then 2 minus 2 is 0. Then we're going to bring down the 6 here. Then we're going to look 3 times what number will get me close to 16. Now, if you take a look at our list here, the only number that's close to 16 but doesn't go past it is this 15 right here. So 3 times what got you 15, or how many times did you add 3 to get 15? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 5. So I'm going to subtract that by 15. And I don't know if I can squeeze it in there, but 6 minus 5 is 1. and 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, so our answer is 258, and then the remainder from the bottom here that we subtracted is 1. So the answer is 285, remainder 1. So let me double check that real quick. Yep, that is correct. So the quotient is 285, remainder 1. Alright, so that is our little lesson on log division. Again, if you're having trouble with this or you want more practice, I really encourage you all to skip count here. Alright, I'm going to draw a bunch of arrows here because you can see that if you're not good with your multiplication facts, the skip counting method, if you take the time to do it right from the beginning, you're always going to be using that because you're always going to be, the divisor is 3, so you're always going to think about 3 times what number will get to whatever number you need. Okay, do these things step by step. The long division isn't hard. It gets easier the more you practice it because you'll get used to the steps and you'll start to remember some of the math facts now that we can't do rocket math. So continue to practice your math facts at home if you can. You can easily make flashcards on your own. Continue to look at the lessons and practice everything that's being posted by your teachers. All right, have a good one, and stay tuned for the next lesson next week.